Hello, everyone out there. It's Doc Phineas. And for those of you who follow me here on social media, I'm sure that you've seen that I'm getting ready to release my sixth book that I've written. And that book is called Cry of the Eagle, Song of the Wolf. And I know you've probably been following me on these great journeys I've been making to Santa Fe, just returning from New Mexico, where I've been working on the film Skyhawk. And I have another great new series of movies getting ready to come out that are going to hit the main theaters, where I'm back horseback riding, shooting guns, and basically playing a half-breed. That probably is a shock to some people who only know me as a steampunk, and they may not even know that whole side of my life where I did come here from Kansas and Oklahoma, basically. I went to Hollywood from Kansas and the Oklahoma area, and I grew up basically with the thinking that I was, in fact, Native American and attending powwows. And basically, I started dancing in powwows from the age of 5. So you might wonder what that whole story is and how I've ended up, probably in your eyes, looking like a cowboy or an Indian or whatever it is I am playing at the moment. And it just so happens that I have this wonderful new book coming out about my life that I basically had in Oklahoma as a fancy dancer. So when I was a young baby, in fact, my mom said when I was just first born, my Native American uncle, Glenn, who was hardcore Cherokee and a high-ranking member of the tribe, a war hero, just an amazing, amazing man, showed up and basically took me as a baby in front of the hospital and dedicated me to the sun, is what she told me. And from that moment on, it was just a bond between my uncle and myself. And he started taking me to powwows. He had an amazing teepee on adjacent land to his house. And so me and my cousins, I had a cousin very close to me in age who was more or less like my brother Joe. We spent a lot of time playing in that teepee and learning about Indian culture from my uncle. And he was a really good maker. He was a great beater. He's always making things for me. But you can see here is kind of like I guess you might call this a Native American wand. But that's a lot of his beadwork there. Basically made this really great gourd rattle for me. And this is a big deal when you get presented with one of these and you live in Oklahoma or you live in Kansas. This means you're right in there with them and a person in the tribe. And in fact, when I opened up this gourd, and he grew the gourd himself, did all of this beautiful stitching that's on there, and beadwork, and the inside is completely filled with peridot and citrine. So when you shake this, it's kind of like a prayer of abundance, because those are both stones that are used in creating abundance. So I really started collecting all of these wonderful Native American things when I was very, very young. My whole bedroom, when I was growing up as a boy, was all very famous Native Americans like Chief Joseph from the Nez Perce, Sitting Bull. And then my own personal favorite father when I was growing up was Chief Buffalo Robe in Oklahoma. And he lived in Tahlequah. And we used to go down there to the Cherokee Longhouse. I would dance, do grass dancing. From the time I was 5 years old, I was out there. And in fact, one of my most poignant memories of my childhood was that I was basically at what was called the Devil's Dance in Dewey, Oklahoma. And I was out there just going for it. I had this great costume, all black and red feathers with little touches of turquoise, just done up as a fancy dancer. And I was out there really into it. Everybody was singing. And I looked to the side of the auditorium. There was probably maybe, it was an outdoor arena, maybe like 2,000 people there watching this at this powwow. And I could see a twister coming right down the road. And there was this one dancer I was really fond of, and his name was Eaglehawk. And he just grabbed me up from where I was and threw me down in this ditch and laid on top of me as the tornado passed. And I literally was saved from that tornado by, this big strapping Native American guy. And, that was my childhood. I literally spent so much of my time. I was photographed, very famous photographs taken of me on ridges in Oklahoma and Kansas. My good friends in Bartlesville was like the Wade Phillips family, and they had Woolaroc, which is just this amazing, amazing Native American museum for the Osage Nation. And I really spent a lot of time with Native Americans. My mother had also told me that she was pretty sure I was conceived in Taos, New Mexico. So she said, you know, if you're a strange child and there's this affection for New Mexico, I'm pretty sure that's the source of who you are and where you came from. So as a child, I just kept requesting, please let me go back to Taos. I want to go back to Taos. And my poor family was on the road to Santa Fe and Taos from the time I was 5 years old. So I really spent my childhood like doing a lot of these things, you know, just really, really hardcore into New Mexico, Oklahoma, Kansas, and hanging out with Native Americans. People would ask me, what do you want to be when you grow up? And most kids are saying, oh, I'm going to be a doctor. Or I'm going to be... And I would always say I'm going to be a Native American because I actually thought that was a profession. And here I am at 70, you know, my mid 70s, and pretty much that's who I am. You know, when you look at my home and you look at the kind of movies I'm making and kind of things I'm collaborating on. I'm collaborating on something right now with Kevin Costner. And, you know, it just, these are the kinds of things that my heart and my affection was since I was a little boy. And then, of course, as an archaeologist, I ended up not only with so many different Native American tribes doing a lot of archaeological work, but I ended up in Egypt was my first assignment at the Tomb of King Tut, and so much of my life spent in India. So I'm sort of an Indian. I did become an Indian, you know, as I got older because I had so much affection for culture in India, culture among Native Americans, and culture in Egypt. And when you look at the Egyptians, they wore headbands with feathers. You know, they were very much an Indian tribe. Like the priestess of Isis would wear these long, long wings, you know, of an eagle and do like an eagle dance. And the same thing was being done in Mesoamerica, you know, where people would affect the eagle and how important the eagle and the falcon, all of these birds were so important to these ancient people, and they respected the feathers. They knew the power of the feathers of these birds because the birds could fly very high to heaven, and they felt that all of those feathers were sacred and they carried a special message. The eagle is the symbol of our country, and that did not come from people from Europe who came there who really, you know, were not looking at the eagle in that way. That came from their association with Native American people once they got here. I always found Native American people to be so beautiful to me and so wonderful, and they always just took me in as a brother. So it was just a wonderful thing to have an association with them on every level. That being said, my new book coming out, I think you're going to love because it's a journey that I went through in 1985, very dangerous journey where I was suddenly diagnosed with cancer. I really didn't tell my family or anything. And they basically told me I have 4 months to live. So they said, you have a choice. You can either go into chemo and radiation, check yourself in the hospital. That's how advanced it is. Or whatever you're going to do is therapy. And I said, I'm sorry, but for me, that's not an option. For me, the only option is to seek a medicine man and to go the Native American route. I believe in Native American medicine, right? So I got in my truck, started driving across the country, and basically, when I got to Taos, New Mexico, I knew I was there. And I tell the story in my book how I met an amazing Native American medicine man, went on a long, very serious journey of becoming his apprentice, and really, really did practice Native American medicine. And you see me before you today. That was 1985. They told me I had 4 months to live at the most. And here I am going strong. I came back to LA. I went to Scripps in San Diego, and they could not find a trace of cancer in my body. So whatever journey I went on there among Native Americans, I thought, you know, at this age, it's a very important moment for me to share that amazing journey I went on, how I recovered my health, and the amazing health that I'm in today, where I just don't have aches or pains. I just keep on going. I was on horseback yesterday in the evening, you know, around a campfire with friends, and I just live my life. Aches and pains are not something that I have. So I feel so blessed that I've had this journey in my life and this wonderful association with Native American people of so many different tribal groups. And even today, one of my very dearest friends, Chief Harry Kindness, Good Wolf Kindness, you know, these are people who he's in Savant Squad with me, and people I love and respect who are still nourishing my soul. I just came from Taos, where I was with Sonny Spruce, one of my dearest friends, and going to memorial services for my brother there, and also for my dear, dear friend Cradle Flower, Dolly Lujan, who was the wife of the governor of Taos Pueblo. And this is just an example of some of Dolly's amazing art. Her Indian name was Cradle Flower. She was from Santo Domingo, Pueblo, and her pottery is just to be cherished and loved. I've had so many pieces that she personally gave me, and I've really, really been mourning the passing of numerous friends of mine who, since COVID, I lost a lot of Native American friends, did not make it through, and so I'm really, really thinking of them and respecting them today. Here's an amazing fan that you're going to read about in my book. And this incredible fan was passed on to me by my medicine man. It's blue macaw feathers that were traded back in the 1920s at Taos Pueblo. All of this are examples of his amazing beadwork, which this all comes from waterbird stitching, from very serious journeying that these people do, and then a lot of journeying I did with them, a lot of inner work that I did with them, and work in becoming a medicine man myself, learning a lot about herbology, being able to work on people, heal people, and developing my own personal psychic powers. But this fan is called the Fan of Destiny, and it's considered to be one of the most powerful fans in America. It's a fan that can shape the destiny of the planet, and I talk about it very strongly in my book. You'll see in my just amazing pieces, but this is Sunny Bigay's work making this incredible kachina, and it's based upon all of the Hopi principles, and was in the Kiva in Walpi for a while, and it was presented to me by one of the great Hopi elders, Princess Caroline of the Hopi Nation, and it's the owl kachina. These are all owl feathers, and every wizard needs his owl, and that's my owl right there. It's almost 5 feet tall, and you'll see the detailing on it. It's so incredible. But underneath, the owl dancer's right in there. So it's just completely true to form. This becomes just an extraordinarily powerful kachina doll. And, people who understand what the owl means to Native American people will understand how powerful that doll is. Here's another one that I really, really love, and that's Crow Mother. And this is a very, very old kachina coming from like 1890, was presented to me by one of the Hopi elders, Daniel. And you'll see this gorgeous painting back here that was done by Richard Archuleta. And I think it's one of the most beautiful paintings that I've ever seen. This is really prized, but this is the Great Spirit, which is usually the Great Spirit is never portrayed in a painting. But this one is just done so exquisitely when you look at the anatomy and just the incredible expression of compassion and love for people that the Great Spirit has on his face. He's a cloud walker. He's Wakantange. He is the Great Spirit of so many nations. And here is First Mesa, basically, of the Hopi Nation. And you can see Crow Mother coming up on top of the ridge at First Mesa, followed by Crazy Grandchild, Hummingbird Conchita, and also some Hopi clowns. These amazing shadowy characters that are there. And then most importantly, the artist drew himself on one of the mesas praising Crow Mother. So Crow Mother brings the corn seeds. She basically has the corn seedlings in her hand, and that's for planting. And when she arrives, the whole tribe goes to greet her. I happened to be staying at First Mesa when Crow Mother arrived, and it was so powerful. I was told, wake up, wake up. And they took me over, and I saw Crow Mother coming and dancing, passing out the seedlings and the planting of the corn for the coming year, for the crop, to make the bread, and for cornmeal, and for all of the important things. Crow Mother brings those seedlings, and how powerful it is to see these things. All of the textiles in this part of my home, in the Santa Fe room, have all been hand woven. And you'll see beautiful, beautiful old kachinas in here that are just amazing. Some of these were made for me by very, very dear friends, blessed in the kivas, and given to me because of the work that I had done for the tribe in archaeology and provenance. This is the white buffalo dancer and the eagle. Those are my two spirit guides, are the white buffalo and the eagle. They appear to me in dreams. They appear to me when I sweat. And this is a snow eagle hawk fan. And this fan was made for me by my medicine man, presented to me right after I went on my first vision quest. And I was sitting in this cave, basically meditating with him, when this eagle just dropped right at the foot of the cave. And he said, that came to present you with your feathers you need for your fan as a shaman. And he made that just incredible beadwork. It's all really museum quality. This is a rainmaker. He brings the rain. He's cloud. He's a cloud walker, cloud dancer. And behind him, you see another eagle dancer. So all of these old, just amazing kachinas. A lot of the work in my home was done by very, very famous Southwestern artists like David West. He did all of